Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're going to take a look at the Deanston Distillery and do a triple review. Before we get into the whiskeys, Keith from the Malted Man Cave joined us. Keith has been incognito. A few of our subscribers were worried about you, Keith. So we did the safety call, and we told him to come on down to Columbus. So we brought a couple of these Deanstons here, this 18-year-old and 20. And I pulled out my Deanston 30-year-old. We're going to do a little Deanston rundown. Keith, what can you tell us about the 18 and the 20?
So the 18, it has so many, like Teddy graham cracker, honey.
Oh, you thought I wanted a long
maturation here, buddy.
Yeah. 46.3% ABV.
Well, hold on, because I was only going to say two notes, and then I was going to say, for 18, I mean, obviously it's an 18-year-old whiskey compared to like the 70-year-old whiskeys that you guys typically review.
Let's keep it straight.
It has some of the best first fill bourbon casks. And it's exclusively bourbon maturation.
Okay, and it is
Non-chill filtered,
46.3% ABV. The 20-year-old is Oloroso, matured 55.5% ABV. And finally, this Deanston 30, which I know pretty well. This is also cask strength at 46.7. This is both bourbon.
You know pretty well.
Pretty well. And finishing period in Oloroso Sherry Casks, I think, for about 4 years. So we thought it'd be fun to kind of do these three whiskeys. The three whiskeys will be represented here the same way they are here. Basically, from our right, your left, going down, they get younger. So we will start with the 18-year-old gentleman. Hard to get us all in here, I got to tell you.
Yeah.
Your head, my shoulders, it's not easy.
I'm telling you guys, some really good bourbon casks used.
Yeah, very influenced by that 10 gram cracker thing, but you know, I would almost guess there was some sherry cask maturation that smells very sweet to go along with that dirty distillate the Deanston's known for.
And I'm just thinking refilled sherry butts when I
Agreed.
start nosing this, and then I'm thinking a little bit of kind of that. I think of kind of like a Springbank kind of funkiness is kind of going on here.
Yeah, funk with some nice vanilla notes.
Deanston has a little bit. It's not quite as waxy as Plain Leach, but it's got a little bit of that waxiness, and that creamy malted milk ball mixed with honey Teddy graham crackers that I love. I love it.
Definitely get the graham cracker notes you're talking about here. Yeah, a little sour, a little bit oaky. I think a lot of
sour compared to the 20. It's nowhere near as sour.
Just said it's a little sour. We haven't smelled the 20 yet.
We'll get there.
Yeah, you want some sour.
You're jumping ahead, Marla.
We'll get there. We'll get there, Tiger.
That's some Sour Patch Kids right there.
Yeah, I mean, this is
Sour Patch. It's just kind of like slightly sour from oak.
Do you guys get the waxiness? It's kind of known.
Not on the nose, really, but I mean,
I think once you
palate's usually where I'll probably pick up waxy. I don't usually pick
sure.
up wax on the nose.
Yeah, it smells heftier than the 46%. All right, I'm gonna smell the 20. Boy, this is way dirtier.
Way dirtier. One of the dirtier malts out there.
This is more like Springbank 15, whereas the other one was Springbank 10. You know, this is sour for sure.
This is jumping out.
This is sulfury, dirty sherry.
I like this.
But not too sulfury. I like a little sulfur, but if it gets too much, I don't enjoy it. I feel like this has, for me, the right amount of sulfur.
Still has that, Dunnage warehouse.
I was going to say exactly. This almost, if you would have told me this is a Cadenhead independent bottling, I'd believe you.
Like acidic strawberry, strawberry mambas, raspberry mambas, artificial candy.
Man, it's so intense on the nose.
Raspberry sherbet.
Yes, raspberry sherbet would be an excellent descriptor.
Yeah, big time.
But you still have a little bit of the Deanston creaminess. Because this...
If you say so.
All right, I'm going to 30.
I'm getting oak and I'm getting sherbet, man.
Yeah. Wow. That raspberry strawberry, like an orange kind of sherbet note.
Yep.
Takes a minute to get away.
Oh, wow. The Deanston 30 is quite a bit different.
Candied, but yet it still has that slightly
Black
sulfured, slightly... I mean, it's still got those same elements that these first two had.
Beautiful bubblegum note on that, too.
Bubblegum, little chocolatey, but black. I get a slight black licorice note.
Yeah, this is definitely diverged a little.
Very chocolatey.
Very sweet dessert whiskey.
Vanilla candle.
This is like chocolate raspberries and again, it's ice cream like. Yeah, you're right. Bubble gum and
Vanilla ice cream. I don't remember it being this much bubble gum last time.
Yeah, no, it's I've had this bottle open for I got this when I went and visited Corey.
I remember bubble gum and then tasting notes when we first did this.
Yeah, no, that was before COVID for sure. So I mean, this has been open for 2 years.
What's the ABV on that?
46.7 cask strength.
Yeah, so the 18 and the 30 are the same, and then the 20 is the
55.5.
probably the barrel proof cask strength level. I'm assuming.
Oops.
Hopefully you heard that. That means the mic's working.
Yeah, do they do this every... Do they do these?
It's a one-off.
No, it's a one-off. This was bottled in like 2010 or 2012. I can't remember which one it was, and that was just it, man.
And that's exclusively sherry?
No, it was aged for like 20. It's a 4-year finishing in Oloroso.
That's crazy because I get Oloroso all the way on this one. Honestly, all three of these, if you'd ask me, I would think they're just different levels of refilled and first fill sherry butts. So.
I didn't smell it at first, but the longer I smelled the Deanston 30, I get a little bit of that honey titty.
Honey for sure.
Crackers,
Yeah, you're right there.
that creaminess, malty, like malted milk balls I can get with all Deanston.
Almost Cheerios.
I mean, you can tell this is the same distillery for all of them.
Like with the milk and the honey. Like, if you did you ever drizzle as a kid?
Dude.
Oh yeah.
The
I had as
Cheerios,
much sweetness,
and then
everything
drinking the milk and then scooping the little honey off the bottom.
100%.
All right, let's get into the taste.
Wow, dude, this Deanston 30 is better than I remembered.
30
I remember
smells
really
amazing.
liking it.
Yeah,
I remember liking it.
It's a beautiful smelling whiskey. All right.
Now this just smells like dried cardboard almost compared to those last two.
See, I like it though.
Well, no, it's not negative. It's just in
better.
comparison. You know, when you go from one to the other, you're like, wow.
It's so creamy honey though.
Yeah. All right, Mike.
Ooh, definitely comes off more Deanston, malty, gritty on the palate for sure. Definitely not as sweet on the palate as it was on the nose. It's an earthy bite to this for sure. Stinging on the side. A little milk chocolate comes in at the end, which is kind of weird for all bourbon cask maturation. I like what these casks did to the spirit.
No, it has some sherry, right?
I'm pretty. It's
all bourbon?
exclusively
Really?
Really? That surprises me. Yep.
I would have.
Bourbon cast. Oh no.
Finish.
Well, yeah, but that's maybe it's like that's weird. What do you mean bourbon cast finish?
I bet you this was.
I didn't know we were doing a review, so I actually haven't read up on all these.
To me, it comes off like it's a refilled sherry where there's some bourbon casks.
I don't think there's any sherry maturation there. I could be wrong. We'll look it up.
I'll put it in the description.
Yeah, man. If there's no sherry in here, that's really interesting.
Yeah, because I get a lot of chocolate notes.
I'm getting a ton of chocolate on here. You're right. I mean, it's stingy. I get the graham cracker. I do get a really nice vanilla note, which comes in. And
I'd be surprised.
really gives me that bourbon cask. But
Sherry and then a bourbon finish? I don't think I've ever heard of that before. Have you?
why would you say bourbon finish if you didn't use sherry as the alternative?
I mean, I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure it's just bourbon, though, guys. We'll find out.
We'll find out. We'll go
Yeah, but my tasting note here is I taste sherry.
I agree.
It may not be, and that could be the Deanston malt, just reminds me of sherry. But this reminds me of like a little bit of European oak sherry butt.
Yeah, I would say Oloroso Sherry.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's got that little bit of European oak spice that I get, and that's part of what makes this really come off like Dunnage Warehouse European oak.
I think if I'm remembering correctly, my memory's kind of... Because I didn't know we were doing this whole rundown of Deanston. They decided last minute. I'm pretty sure it's like second, third fill, bourbon, yada yada. And I think it's the bourbon cask finish. It's the first fill is what they're using. That's what they're using the bourbon.
Maybe.
I'll believe you, but man, I'm getting like some of that light hints of sherry that I get on some of those, very like third fill sherry butts.
I agree. We'll see. We'll write it down. All right, so the 20-year-old, 55.5, Oloroso.
God, this is such a dirty, sulfury, but yet like sweet and like you kind of said, raspberry, strawberry.
Tell you what, comes off sweeter on the palate initially for sure. It's not as gritty or as barley forward as the 18. Sugary almost on the finish.
It reminds me so much of like I had several bottles of the Clanleash 23, 21, 22 signatory cask strength, and they just had this strawberry, waxy, raspberry shirt. Like, oh my gosh.
I'm getting the red berry note for sure. The waxiness, I'm having a little hard time jumping to that, but Deanston isn't.
Deanston's bitey.
Yeah, berry.
I think the malt, it almost feels, like how they, the grist when they like.
Yeah, it feels gritty.
Like they didn't like malt, they didn't like mill it as good as they should have.
That's what it tastes like. You're right. It tastes very malty, very, very.
Like they didn't spend as much time milling it.
Did they leave the?
Yeah.
Did
I actually like it. Like,
they maybe leave the barley like wet on the floor and like started to get a little sour before they like actually made the whiskey?
I don't know. There is
Because there's like a sour note in all of these. It's so
I think
distinctly
the shower is
Deanston.
more from the cash. Personally.
Yeah, it's very.
But the fact that all three of them, I mean, nose sour, like, and you're saying this is bourbon, this is all sherry, and then this is a mix.
You get sour on the 30?
Let's get to the 30.
See, I don't get any sour on the 18 or the 30, just on the 20.
Oh.
That doesn't mean. I mean, you got
On the nose, I definitely get sour on all three.
All right, let's go to the palate on this 30.
I mean, it's more like a sweet tart sour on the 30 versus like there might be some like seriously sour stuff like sauerkraut on the 20.
30 is a different animal. I mean, a little bit of that's there. But yeah, it's just so honey sweet,
Yeah.
Heavy vanilla.
heavy vanilla and honey, vanilla and dark honey. Mm.
We were talking
You
about
guys
wax
look at that?
earlier. I get waxy vanilla.
Yeah, you're
Very
right.
waxy.
Like candlestick.
Yeah.
Wax almost.
Vanilla candles. Mm-hmm. You guys don't get that slight black licorice note?
On which one?
30.
Yeah.
What you saying? I don't.
I get a very clean note that could be in that realm. I'm thinking I was going to say chocolate, but you could convince me that there's a slight anise kind of note there.
Yeah.
Just very subtle.
Milk chocolate, if anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say the dominant notes are vanilla, like a waxy vanilla candle. So I'm probably getting some.
Maybe
of
a little bit of
that
like a
waxiness.
malt ball. Like
I get
Oh,
malted
yeah.
milk ball in every single one.
Yeah.
Some are stronger than others, but it's not as strong on the 30, but there's a little bit of that malted milk. The Whoppers. And
exactly.
it's-
Dead on Whopper. Yeah, it's a little bit.
The
of that.
30 is far more candied. It's far more of a dessert.
Way more vanilla. It gets cleaner. It's still it's. When I say sour, I mean like it's got a really nice fruit that's a little bit acidic on the 30. The 20 is just straight. That's sour. And the 18 has, again, to me, it's coming off like they had that barley out there, a little wet, and it started getting sour from some kind of like.
It almost went bad in some way.
It's kind of like like a Brettanomyces or something kind of got in there, like that yeast where it had like a little bit of a sour element. If you ever had like a sour beer, or there's some sour wines that get some of that Brett note.
Do the Kalila 30s and 35s, are they all bourbon maturation or they have some sherry? I can't remember.
I think they're better.
Because there's something about this reminds me of Kalila 30 or 35 without the peat.
On the Deanston 30.
I don't know if I jumped there.
Like that, it's that bubble gum, because there's bubble gum really strong on the Kalila 30 and 35.
Yeah, I mean, once you get whiskey that old, you get into 30-year-old whiskey, so there's some kind of funny things happen with the wood.
Yeah,
And
and you start just getting similar oak notes because 30 years in oak, if it's going to pass the test, it has to have a similar profile I think, to some degree.
A little bit of coconut milk. Coconut on that 30. That's a good whiskey.
30 is so good.
Yeah, that is good whiskey. That was a good
Yeah.
I love all of these.
That was
30 is
good.
definitely the best.
Agreed. I would go down just in
Yeah.
age. I'd go 30, 20, 18. 18 now, if you go back to with water, almost feels a little, there's almost like a cardboard glue note to it.
I would never add water to the 18 personally.
Almost like a corn
I
husk.
mean, I know it's good to do it for science, but if I was just drinking it for my own enjoyment, I
yeah.
I agree.
I'm definitely getting more of like the earthiness, the barley notes are coming out more. So I'm glad to have done it with the water because I'm definitely getting a different experience.
Yeah, it's almost like a little bit of clay almost in it too.
Yeah. Again, it's very earthy.
That honey teddy graham cracker note is really strong in the 18 that I do enjoy. It's definitely the least out of all of them. I enjoy it the least, but I really do like that teddy.
I mean,
graham cracker
again, it's
note.
it's kind of what you would expect. I mean, they went up in age. Obviously, this is the highest ABV, but it's not a stretch to say that this one, because it's all Oloroso, we know for sure it's a higher ABV, it's cast strength, it's a couple years older, it would be better. I mean, this one is considerably older than the rest of them.
Yeah.
So I mean, I mean, let me ask you guys another question: how many bad 30-year-old single malt scotches have you had in your life? You know what I'm saying? I mean, they're all pretty enjoyable.
Yeah.
if they can make it that
They're
far.
not bottling something at 30 years old unless it's great.
Correct. I've had a lot of mediocre 18, 20-year-old whiskeys before. Not that these are mediocre, they're not. I'm just saying that's an age that you can expect some off-putting things at times. But really, it's only Deanston I had, and Keith brought these too, so that was really more of the fulcrum.
It's crazy to me how much this
the decision was
Deanston
made.
20 reminds me of the Springbank 15. It's so similar in notes to certain Springbank 15s I've had.
See, for me, that Springbank 15 is that, what is that? The stripe tutti frutti bubble gum, and I don't get quite.
Well, which Springbank
I get
15?
more raspberry and strawberry and.
It almost reminds me more of Long Rose than it does Springbank. This 20.
Some longer 18s.
It definitely has the
in that
acidic
realm.
sourness that you get with a lot of Springbanks for sure, but then it's got that creaminess and waxiness. That
I'm not getting any creaminess at all in the 20.
Oh my gosh!
It is all
I don't-
sherry cask, oak, sour, fruitiness,
Yeah.
and
that
funk. Yeah.
That funk is very tied to the barley note with it, in my opinion.
It's barley, and it's barley. It's European oak. I'm pretty darn sure they used not all of it, maybe, but some of it's European oak. And man, it's all of that.
See, I think the funk is more.
But mind you, like every
from the
Springbank
sherry
15 is so radically different from each other. Springbank 15s are by no means a consistent whiskey year to year.
I'd say the last 4 or 5 years they've been taste pretty much the same.
Can't comment on the last 4 or 5 years. I mostly drink older ones
All right, Keith.
because that's what's available for me to buy, believe it or not.
You remember how this works, right? Versus series.
No, I don't.
All right, so someone's buying a drink for you at the bar. You don't know how much it costs. You don't even care. You don't even know what these whiskeys are. You're hanging out at the bar, not at home. You're not sitting there with a Glencairn, picking out subtleties. Which whiskey are you picking?
30 is the best. Now, I will say, the Deanston 20 is one of my favorite whiskeys for the price.
What are you picking up?
I think that's probably going for close to $300 nowadays.
I got this for $2.99.
Yeah.
Really?
I love
Is
Deanston.
this is a one-off, or is this something to keep?
It's a one-off.
Okay,
so,
that's
yeah,
why
you're
it's
not
going up
gonna-
in price.
Yeah, you're not going to find it anymore. It could be even more than that, to be honest with you, at some places.
Mm-hmm.
Deanston 30 is the best. I mean, like you said, it goes down in order.
Yeah.
For me, I think the Deanston 18 is the best value for money. I mean, you can get this for 110, I think. Now, for us, we're going to pay like 130-ish, 140.
That's not the way we make decisions.
Well, I'm married with kids, unlike these two yahoos. Although,
Yeah, fun. Yeah, I mean, again, that's enjoyable whiskey for that amount of money. It's enjoyable whiskey for that amount of money.
inside joke. Sorry.
Don't wish anything on me. Dustin, which one did you pick, buddy?
I'm getting the 30. I enjoy the 20. I don't ever want to have that again. I don't like the
You're
18.
insane. Come on. That's a great whiskey
It's-
for an 18-year-old.
Is it great? Is it Lafroig 18?
I'd way rather have Deanston 18 than the Friday 18.
Come on.
Yeah, all day, every
One
day.
time. Come on, think about that.
These casks are amazing. That Teddy Honey.
I don't know. Maybe if I went back to this,
I think most of the
Well, let me put it this
community
way:
agrees
with
me
water,
that the Deanston 18 is a delicious.
with water, I really don't enjoy that whiskey. This once we had
Well,
water,
I agree. I don't
agree.
think because they put like you said, that like.
it just
sandy
brought
slash-
out all this earthiness. It just kind of it's not good. When it was neat before we had water, it was okay. I wouldn't mind it. I don't really want to finish this glass. That's kind of where I'm at on the 18.
That's crazy.
So that's where we're at. If you guys ever had a chance to try any of these whiskeys, let us know what you think.
Let us know in the comment who's right.
Yeah, because that's definitive.
Subjective.
Please provide your opinion. And your opinion should be Keith is a moron, even if you don't agree with us on the whiskeys.
I have a feeling that
Because it'll be way
I'm
more
gonna win the
entertaining for
argument
us.
in the comment section.
Whiskey Scout, you've had at least 2 of these whiskeys, Whiskey Scout. Let me know what you think in this one.
Oh, there you go.
We're not giving a score. We're just going on what we prefer.
Buddy,
Yeah.
it's the Conversa series. We don't give scores on Conversa series. We just say, hey, you're at a bar, someone's picking up the tab, probably me. Which one would you pick? Like I do here.
As he shows me his brand new $2,000 computer and brand new Camaro as I come in.
You think you got that computer for $2K?
No, I know it's more than that.
Love that car. Anyway, that's what we think, guys. Let us know what you guys think if you had a chance to try any of these whiskeys. And until next time, Dustin, what do we wish the folks?
Happy drinking.
Drinking.
And Keith's still alive. Bang.